want you to say la 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 la, you know what I mean?
La 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 la. Okay, no judgment.
Louder than that.
Huh?
No, don't sing it. Just say how now. Say how now, brown cow.
How now, brown cow.
How now, brown cow.
How now, brown cow.
Don't. Okay. Don't ride the phony jabroni pony.
Don't ride the phony jabroni pony.
Louder, enunciate.
Don't ride the phony jabroni pony.
Right. say don't be a jabroni.
Don't be a jabroni.
Okay, good. Okay, that was a good mic check.
Wait, hang on. What's a jabroni?
I don't know. Nobody knows. It's a bad, okay?
Looks like this has the same setting as the last time I used it. But, Lewis, if you're watching this, I did take my weights off, okay? What's up, guys? Here I am. I'm starting my workout for my legs with this pit shark is what it's called. Sumo squats to get the juices flowing. It's a very dynamic exercise and I love this movement. It's so important though. I make sure that I load my quads on the way down, and then to get that extra little click and that squeeze in the glutes, I actually push my hips forward slightly at the top so that I can get that extra squeeze. I normally start my lower body workouts with leg extensions to get things warmed up and push out some of the juices in my knees, and it's kind of funny because I just thought on a whim I would try something different, and after doing my first set I realized some extensions to loosen up my knees.
Warm it up.
So I definitely realized I needed to do some extensions so that I can get the most out of that shark pit sumo squat exercise, and that's exactly where I was headed next. I usually like to start with extensions on leg day anyway. I was feeling a little bit ambitious, but I actually don't use extensions to build my quads. I use them to work out the synovial fluid in my knees so I can do those compound movements where I'm using my knees and my hips and I get kind of some of that inflammation worked out. When I hit my extensions, I like to do toes up, toes in, unilateral. So all of those different ways of doing extensions are really focused on getting blood flow to the quads and, like I explained earlier, just pushing out some of the inflammation that is inherently going to be in your knees, and that's going to help you get through all of the rest of the compound movements that you are most likely going to be doing in your lower body workout.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unilateral warm-up.
If you're watching me do this and you're wondering what in the world is she doing, why is she sitting like that? I am sitting differently. It looks a little bit weird, but I'm tilted to the side. My knee is in, my toe is in. I'm really trying to focus hard on the outer sweep of my quadricep. Your muscle insertions are whatever you were given at birth, right? But you can definitely develop your muscles to create a vision that you want to have with your body, the best of your ability. I have short insertions with my quads already, so when I develop them, they do tend to sweep out really well, but I have to develop them. I mean, no matter what your body type is or what your muscle insertions are or how gifted you are, how much you maybe aren't so gifted, you are able to use your body as a canvas and be your own artist no matter what.
good.
All right, so here we are back at the pit shark. I tried starting with the Sumo Squats on the pit shark at the beginning of my workout. Of course, I realized I needed to warm up my knees and my joints a little bit more, so after doing the leg extensions, it helped a lot. I was able to get a lot more out of this movement pattern, and that's usually what I do. I usually start with leg extensions, but like I said, I was trying to be ambitious and I was feeling a little bit, you know, rambunctious on this, especially since I was filming for YouTube. I thought, you know what, I'm a superhuman today, but I guess I wasn't. So yeah, I'm not gonna show you guys every set of every exercise in this workout. I'm just gonna kind of show you a representative set of most of the things that I did and give you an idea of what my workout looked like. It gets hard to shoot everything because I am definitely pushing myself, so the first set of everything is usually a lot easier for me to record, and then I'm pretty much killing myself. I want to point out that when it comes to a leg press, not all leg presses are created equally. In fact, if I go to a gym and there's multiple different kinds of leg presses, I'll usually do a couple sets on every single one because my legs are hit slightly different on every angle, and depending on how the machine is set up, I'm able to kind of get around the different components of my gluteal muscles just slightly different, and I think that gives your glutes a lot of dimension. This particular one I really like. You can do one side at a time if you want. I'm doing both sides, and my favorite foot stance on a leg press is when the feet are literally just slightly outside of the hips, okay? Knees facing the toes, bring the feet down on the pad, but not so much that your knees will cross your toes when you bend your knees. And that range really gets through the gluteus maximus so pointedly. I think, you know, a long time ago I used to put my feet a little bit wider, and I've played around with different stances, and I think that it's good to try different ways of putting your feet on the platform because, you know, depending on your goals and what you're trying to hit in that particular movement pattern, you're gonna be better off trying different things. But in terms of hitting the hamstrings and the gluteal muscles, I'm just really feeling this, you know, this foot stance. Go by how you feel. You know, you're gonna read a lot of things and maybe even go off of what I'm telling you here in this video right here, but feel for yourself. When you go to the gym, try placing your feet in different places and connect to your gluteal muscles, your hamstrings, your quads, and feel what is being engaged. I know I'd be able to do a lot more reps if I wasn't like mentally focusing so much. Like I could probably just like push, but like while I'm pushing it, I'm like. Okay, so here's the thing when it comes to hamstring curls. There's prone hamstring curls, there's seated hamstring curls. I'm doing seated hamstring curls here, and when it comes to isolating your hamstrings, you're only going to be as effective as your mind-muscle connection allows you to be. So what I mean by that is, let's say for example you're in a pro hamstring curl position and you're curling your legs up, you're lifting your butt up off the pad, and you're just all over the place. What I like about a seated hamstring curl is that it's actually, for me, it seems to be a little bit easier to isolate the hamstrings because you're not able to lift your butt off of the bench, and you're kind of forced through during the entire range to squeeze your hamstrings, but you still are only as effective as your mind and muscle connection allows you to be. So I try extra hard to squeeze, and I don't ever compromise my form and technique for weight. So I go as heavy as I can while I'm still able to be super focused on my hamstrings. Like I'm just supposed to do like a song and dance.
Yeah.
Ask me a question.
All right, so explain why you do unilateral, one leg at a time versus both legs.
Okay.
specifically for the purpose of recruiting your glutes, even though this is typically a quad exercise.
Right, okay. Well, with the compound movement, leg press, when both sides are operating at the same time, one side is helping to balance the other side, which is great because it's really able to help you really focus on your quads. But when you take one leg out, suddenly you have other stabilizing muscle groups that have to get involved. So what tends to happen when you do one leg at a time is you start kicking in a higher amount of your hamstring connection and your gluteus maximus connection. So you've got actually more muscles really stimulated with more intensity when you do one side at a time. Also, hugest reason in any bodybuilding division, which is, you know, so important when you're dialed in, you're on stage, you want to make sure both sides are perfectly balanced out. And when you do both legs at the same time, we all have an imbalance. We all have like one dominant side, right? Your dominant side can tend to build more and more, and that imbalance can grow larger and larger. So when it comes to one side at a time, I always do my non-dominant side first, because I'm always going to be able to do more reps on my dominant side, and that can just over time create more of an imbalance. So do my non-dominant side first, dominant side second, recruit more muscles, get the legs swole, make everything pop.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to do two types of unilateral. The first one is really going to focus on my
What?
my gluteus maximus, okay? And then the second one, I'm going to focus on my gluteus medius and gluteus maximus. I almost said my gastrocnemius, but my gastrocnemius is my calf, not my butt.
Your upper dorsimus is attached to your uvulus.
Who cares anyway? Who cares? I mean, that really, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So while I do my unilateral leg presses, it might not look like much. I mean, I'm not going all the way down, but I'm also not doing a really shallow range. So what you don't see when you're watching me do this exercise is how much focus I am placing on the load in my quad on the way down and the squeeze through my hamstring and my glutes on the way up. And that connection is so much more intense than what you're able to see with your eye in the video. And so it's hard to translate the type of mind muscle intensity that you place on this exercise when you're just watching someone do it in a video. I know a lot of people like to you know, pack on the weight and, you know, put on a show. My show is really happening inside of my mind, and it's just something I can't quite project in the video. But trust me, if you want results, you got to put that focus into the muscle groups that you want to work, and that is something that you may not be able to see with the naked eye. Focus allows me to push more blood and oxygen to that specific set of muscles. I call this a side saddle leg press. This is a little bit tricky because everybody's body is different, and the most important thing when it comes to finding your position is going with your own body and what feels right. But no matter what, I would say that to be safe and effective, the best way to go is to make sure that your knee and your ankle and your toe are all in the same line with your hip. And with that rule of thumb, you really can't go wrong, because as long as your hip, knee, ankle, and toe are all in the same alignment, you are going to be able to have all that focus be in the muscles that you're trying to work.
Got wobbly legs now?
Yeah. You know, this is an old school machine because it has the function that it has and then it has all these structures to add plates onto it. So, oh my gosh, the structure that I'm talking about is a plate rack. Right there. Would you
Got
agree?
some Anthrax rocking.
What?
We got some Anthrax on.
Anthrax?
That's the name of the band.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? So, I have walking lunges. So when it comes to the end of my workout, I like to finish with walking lunges, usually at the end of my lower body workout, because it is a really taxing movement pattern for my lower body, which is both why I don't do it at the beginning of my workout and also why I like to do it at the end of my workout. At the beginning of my lower body workout, if I were to do this movement pattern and that's really hard on my lower body, I wouldn't get quite as much out of my heavy leg presses and sumo squats, which are really good for optimally engaging all of my muscles I'm trying to develop. So it's not that I'm not necessarily concerned about, you know, developing my lower body when it comes to walking lunges. It's just that I'm okay with doing this movement when I'm a little bit fatigued, because it's more of a finisher. It's more of a, you know, get everything out of, all the juices out of my lower body I possibly can until basically I'm done. One of my big projects that I need to start working on is my calves, because a long time ago, before I started this sport, I was a track athlete, as some of you might already know. And I never really worried about my calves. I mean, I was sprinting all the time, and I've just always had them. And lately, I realized I have been neglecting them. I got so used to not even thinking about them that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I looked down and I thought, I don't have calves anymore. So it's important to recognize these things, because I'm not doing exercises really that engage that part of my body anymore. So now I am deficient in calves, and I'm gonna be working on them a lot. So just doing some basic stuff here, nothing crazy, nothing special. I do have to say that I like performing my calf extensions on leg press machines. I like the stability and the control that I get by you know, sitting in like a seated position or laying on my back like this. That stability gives me the ability to focus more on my calves. It's interesting, I don't quite get that same connection and stability when I'm in a actual calf machine, but that could just be me. I mean, it's like if I personally have a hard time connecting to a muscle in a certain way, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else isn't really able to connect in that same movement pattern in that way. So I mean, it's important for us all to understand we have different and varying abilities to connect to our muscles.
Kaputt, nicht.
Durch Calves
Das
kaputt.
ist nicht gut.
Das ist Calves kaputt.
Das was. Nein. Auf Wiedersehen. Achoo.
Achoo, baby.
You don't know German, do you?
Da.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Was Vidania.
Ich spreche ein bisschen, aber nicht so gut.
In Deutschland.
You know it's Deutschland, not Germany. Das ist richtig, ja?
Deutschland.
Das ist Deutschland, ja. Ja.